Hello there everyone, and welcome to the Mahdist Rebellion War series and the final video that I'm going to do for this, which is done in custom battle, because I was quite disappointed the fact that I didn't get Gordon to do a defense of Khartoum. So what we're going to do here is Gordon's final stand. He has with him about 2,000 Egyptian soldiers, and he's facing, let's go ahead and take a look, he's facing 24,000 Mahdists. So in each of the armies, which there are 4, so each for one side of the fort, in each army there's about, I think it's 5,730 men in each of these forces. I've decided that I wasn't going to defend the walls because they're too big. Now I know there's smaller forts, but I wanted this because there's a number of interesting buildings, and with this replay, which actually is I decided to take this because of some buildings and stuff, and this is going to be actually quite close to what actually happened to Gordon in his last stand. Not entirely though, because, well, you can't mod the map, and there's some limitations. You can't set like unlimited funds, so I couldn't really get all the troops I wanted and so forth. But as close as I think we're gonna get, especially with the end of the battle. Kind of spoiler alert here, but I was so, it's so sort of lined up in a way that it was kind of amazing. So anyways, inside the fort I've gone ahead and made it, well, there's a well, let's go to the very center. So in the very center we've got Gordon. Around him we've got a square. Around this square we've got a bigger square with cannons and troops, and beyond this square we've got 4 squares around it. So it's square, square, square. Where's SpongeBob SquarePants when you need him? And the reason why I did this was actually not a mistake, but I kind of came upon this tactic by mistake. That's what I'm going to say. When I was testing out different ways of doing this battle, and what happened was that a lot of the time the Mahdist warriors would be able to contact the front line, and they would be unable to return fire, of course, because they're stuck in melee. But if I had these squares, the enemy generally did not go for them, and so these guys were able to push in flanking fire, which meant that the Mahdist that actually got here, those units often broke quite early, and so this line could get back into returning fire against the enemy. And so that's why I've done this. The only thing I would do different is actually would be to remove the cannons, because the cannons did a very poor job. The canister was not nearly as effective as I thought it was going to be, because in this mod you run out of ammo rather quickly for your European units, or the one that you can get with the British Army. Okay, so the enemy is actually opening that door, so let's go ahead and see if we can get the canister from the cannons. Aren't going to be that effective as I recall, but yeah, I thought I was going to use this because the cannons have unlimited ammo. He's going to fire. So, well, they fired a bit early. The enemy hasn't really got in yet. Maybe we'll check the second cannon when it fires. Well, that got a few people, 4 people. I think this line's about to fire. So you run out of ammo really bloody quickly, which is a problem. But the cannons have unlimited ammo, which is very good, and that could you know, make sure that you kept killing enemies throughout, even though when your line infantry would run out of bullets. So soon we're going to see my tactic in play as the Mahdist now charging forth, and the squares are going to be able to open flanking fire into these units. And this square opened first. Now this one opens. And so this one routes. And these guys are able to continue to fire. We're going to get continuous fire down there. Now at the same time as this gate has fallen, this gate has fallen. And this gate has fallen as well. So it's kind of hard to keep a track on everything that's going on now. But you can see the enemy is coming in through here. Boom! Nice shot there by the square. But more or less everywhere the enemy is attacking. We're really holding them off on this side, where you can also see the bodies piling up of the Mahdists. And the squares is doing its work a bit too well, the Mahdists thought. So they sent extra troops to be able to try to break the square and kill off this unit. But what I did was I then told them to take control of the house, and they're able to then continue more or less their role by pushing fire into the flank of the enemy. But at this point there's so many Mahdists on this side that this line is definitely not going to hold. And this one also has been completely overrun, and the cannons haven't really been able to fire that much. And for some reason, as you can see right now, they're not firing at all. And now this unit's falling apart. So I'm telling the main square to open fire, I think, at this point. Pretty soon. And it's just going to fire through all sides. Unfortunately, it's going to shoot down the cannon crew and quite a few cannons. Oh, the enemy has now breached the 4th gate, so they're coming in through all sides at this point. And this side of the square is almost completely annihilated, and Gordon is in quite the difficult situation here, because the enemy is broken through and are killing everything. We've got a small square, which is basically almost the only thing holding here. Now, because they weren't able to pull in enough men, the Mahdist, through this gate, I turned this unit to face this side, and they're able to push extra fire onto here to make sure that this side holds. And the Mahdists haven't been able to reinforce through here, so these are the last units, and if I hold them off, we're gonna be able to secure this area. So right now the main area where most enemies are coming in is through this side. We've got this square, well, it was a square, and we have this unit doing its best to hold off the Mahdists. But right now it's very difficult. You can see all the dead bodies. But we have been able to push out all the attackers that came through here are now retreating. Unfortunately though, there's going to be more, because we've defeated about, say, 1 of the 4 armies. And this army is now attacking. Oh, these guys, they're going to get really close to the square. I believe the square is actually out of ammo. They run out of ammo in this mod really bloody quickly. Open fire! And now we've broken these guys off as well, the guys that came through here. So now it's only the guys that came through here. The problem at this point is that most of my units are out of ammo. So this unit's out of ammo. I believe this one's out of ammo. These 2 are very low on ammo. These still have some ammo. But we're down to a few rounds per man, more or less. And we've got tons of Mahdists just coming in through this gate. And unfortunately, I'm gonna have to send in my Sudanese fellas, my Egyptian troops in to just hold the enemy back. So holding the center square is no longer a good idea because the squares have just been collapsing all around. So what I'm doing now is I'm falling back to the headquarters. We've got Gordon here leading his men back. As long as Gordon's alive, the morale boost to the troops means that they're gonna hold until the very end. And these two units, completely out of ammo, need to send them in melee against the enemy. And oh, now this unit's also out. And this one just has a little bit, able to push in some fire on the enemy. But now it's down very much to a melee here just to hold the enemy back. To just help Gordon to get in place here. So we have a unit, I think it's 151. They're gonna go in first, just so Gordon gets a window position. So he hopefully gets a position on second floor where he can set up and hide. And then we have a unit of about 75 men that's gonna hold back the enemy, and they have a few rounds. I think that was maybe, no, it wasn't all of it, but they don't have a lot. Very ominous music as the tide of battle has really turned in favor of the enemy. Gosh darn it, I believe the Mahdists are close to victory at this point. But the Egyptian troops know that the Mahdist is not going to leave anyone alive, just as in the actual battle. And so everyone's going to fight their heart out, really. Managed to actually send this unit off broken, but there's so many more Mahdists coming on. And I believe these guys are out of ammo. They're waiting, and they're gonna go ahead and do a charge against the enemy while they're gaining support from the 100 and something men inside the house. Come on, hold on, men. Well, I know it's bloody dangerous. Look at that guy. Bloody coward. And they're retaking their position, but they lost, let's see, 28 men, so quite a lot. So I'm holding fire here because we need to conserve ammo, and we really don't have a lot, but we can only just keep it quiet for just a few seconds before we need to open fire again, because there's so many enemy Mahdists coming our way. Just look at all these troops. And this is the entire part now of the Third Army, and then at the same time, no, this is the Third Army. This was the Second Army. So this entire Second Army is now through the gates, more or less. And the Third Army is gearing up to get in through this gate to attack Gordon. And now the Mahdist and his troops are attacking the main building. And I've sent the larger unit to charge out and make sure that they can hold the hold the enemy off from Gordon, which I believe is about to get up to the second floor. There he is. You can't see him there, but he's waiting for his turn to get up. And it's actually Gordon's bodyguard that still has ammo. And they're firing out of the windows while the rest of the Egyptian troops are holding off the Mahdists. Okay, so Gordon is now safe on top floor, but there's not a lot of troops left. He has less than 200 men left. And the enemy, they still have the 3rd and the 4th army, so the enemy has at least 10,000 men, probably more. And Gordon has only 200, so it's not looking very bright at this point. It sure isn't. And our troops though are able to hold off the Mahdists here at the stairs very well. You can see just them falling one by one here. Just absolutely slaughtering this unit which is trying to get in. But at the same time as all of these men here of the 2nd army is standing there, you can now see the 3rd army is coming through. We managed to send this unit off. But I mean, you see that they fight until there's 38 men left. And that's quite of a lot. So I guess just because the Mahdi is here, maybe if I didn't have the Mahdi, maybe more troops of the enemy would retreat earlier, and maybe I would have had a better chance at holding out against the enemy, but it's so hard at this point. So I sent the men back in just to send them out again, I don't want them to get too far away. Because if they get out here, which these guys do, they're not going to do as well. And also, they need to protect the gate here. As we see, there's 2 ways to get up. And if my troops are down here, they can't really protect Gordon by holding the door off. So we got quite a few Mahdists there trying to fight their way. So and also the Mahdist at this point, he's not playing fair. So even though he's outnumbering me with maybe as much as 15,000 men against my less than 200, the bastard is still gonna go ahead and cap the flag, the bastard. So we're on the we're on the home stretch of the battle now. There's not a lot left that can be done. According to this, there's 298 men in the fort. We can actually remove the map at this point. There's no point in looking at that. They're down to 60 men, and then Gordon has, I think it's 36 in the general's unit. So we're down to less than 100 men. They're doing their best. Gordon's men is just pouring down fire until they're, I mean, the guns must be overheating at this point, and they're firing through both sides of the building. Now, I tried continuously to get the entire unit to sort of line up in the front of the building, being able to fire out. So at this point, I realized that the time is running out, so I'm actually charging Gordon's unit out to kind of, I don't want it to fizzle out like the timer runs out and Gordon and his men are still kind of fighting. I want an end. I want the enemy to finish off my units and not be this sort of fizzle out. But then, looking at how many men Gordon's bodyguard loses, I'm actually putting him back inside the building. So he doesn't have a lot of men, as we can see, and now Gordon is in the window as well. He's got a good window position of the enemy, and he's coordinating with his soldiers. We've got less than 10 seconds left, and now the Mahdists are in the building. They're starting to kill the troops and going up the stairs, just like in accordance with what Gordon's servant said. And then at the very end, like in the very second before the battle is over, Gordon dies by being stabbed by one of the Mahdists. There's supposedly one guy of our army that sort of survived, because we deployed 2,180 and we lost 2,179. And then we killed. But the thing was, I played this, or when I played this, not the replay, and he literally died on the last second, like just before the battle ends. He dies and the unit gets killed, and it's just like the servant. His servant describes how he died, basically fighting off the Mahdists at the staircase, and I believe he gets hit with 2 spears, and then the final spear, sort of almost according to the servant, cuts Gordon's leg off. But then the servant gets knocked unconscious and he doesn't know what happens to Gordon. But he was fighting with his men all the way to the very end, just like what happened here. So the last guy, well, supposedly some guy escaped, but Gordon dies there in the last moment of the battle, and the freeze frame of him, sort of in that sort of Hollywood-esque sort of anguished, dead. That like, look at that. Can I? Oh yeah, I can. Like he's God damn it, you bastards! And then he dies. I thought that was so cool that happened that way, and just also just next there to the staircase. Like, I mean, you couldn't. How could I have like planned this? It's so bloody amazing, I think. Anyways, well, let's look at what the enemy did then. So the enemy armies, the first army lost more or less all of its troops. The rest probably ran away. Second army didn't lose that many. Fourth army wasn't even used. But in terms of, yes, this is one of the things. My artillery was really expensive. They cost about 1,000 a piece, and they only killed about. The one that killed most killed 258. If you look here, Gordon's unit of 36 men killed 273. So cannons, they weren't a good buy. I probably would have done better with machine guns, or Maxim machine guns. And we can see all these units, every single man lost, but they really made the Mahdist pay. So this one killed 650, and this one 6, and so forth, and all of them inflicted more or less. There's 2 units that didn't inflict that many, but all the other units inflicted about twice their numbers. So more or less for each Sudanese guy that died, or each of Gordon's men. Actually, for each of Gordon's men, there died 3 Mahdist warriors. So they did a really good stand, even though I probably, if I had switched the cannons out for some other, because there was a small contingent of British troops, so I could probably have had some proper red coats that might have been able to do a better job I think they have got better melee skill possibly. And then also, if maybe I arranged the troops a bit so we really like shot out all the ammo, we possibly could have gotten a few more. But there's no way really I could have won this battle. But yeah, this was really nice. As I said, I really liked the end there. Just Gordon at the stair fighting with the sword, and then he gets stabbed, just like in real life. The thing was, this wasn't supposed to be a recreation. I was just gonna do basically a battle where I could see how many Mahdists I could kill with a full army. And then I thought, you know what? I never really did Gordon's last stand, so let's do that. And then the fact that it just amazingly just happens like that, and we've got Gordon at the stairs, just like in real life. That's pretty darn cool. Anyways, this will be it as far as I think right now, at least what I'm thinking right now. Maybe I'll do something tomorrow, but this will be it for this this mod. And I'm not entirely sure. I'll probably maybe put up a poll or something, unless there's another small mod I can do. This one had, you know, with this episode there's 10 episodes, so it's not that long. So maybe I can find some smaller one like that in between. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye!